Hi everyone, I hope you've had a wonderful Easter and you were able to engage and be encouraged and challenged through our online services for Good Friday and Easter Sunday. And are looking forward to continuing to connect as a community at Cardiff Heights Baptist Church and how we just do community in this new way, in this new environment in which we find ourselves, one that we haven't voluntarily signed up for but has been brought upon the community, and really it's the situation that's been faced across the world. So, can I just say, I have been really encouraged by how our church has actually responded to the situation in which we have found ourselves, in which we have had to face. You've been incredibly adaptive to the challenges. You've responded so well. I think collectively, Newcastle and Australia are actually responding really well in terms of following the guidelines from the government in the way in which we have to socially distance from one another and remain at home as much as possible. And I think that is having a big impact on this fight against COVID-19. Now, I just wanted to give you this brief message today because, as you might have come to realise, I like my frameworks, so I do find it helpful to use those to actually just shape how it is that we are actually doing things and how it is that we are responding. And the New South Wales Baptist Association have provided a framework for which describes the stages of response to crisis for churches. And I think I found this framework quite helpful, and so I thought it would be a good idea to actually share it with you to just understand kind of what we have gone through and the various stages that we will continue to actually go through. So it doesn't take too long, but stay with me. So the first stage stage one is called response. So there's four elements to the response, which are characteristics of this stage. And one is that you assess all activities according to the new requirements and recommendations, and then obviously make changes. We've done that. We have changed. We had to close all our face-to-face and we've gone online. So we now have online services. We have online Zoom meetings for our home groups. We have Zoom meetings for our diaconate. We have Zoom meetings for our pastoral leadership team and our pastoral care team. And no doubt you're receiving a lot of calls and so on otherwise. So we've made those kind of changes. The second point is that you identify the most vulnerable people in your church and your neighbourhood. Now, we likewise have actually done that. We realise that many people would not be connected electronically, so we've put in place processes to actually help those that are unable to actually connect in quite this same way, that they can't actually have this video link up type experience with online services and so on. So we've actually been hand printing bulletins. Hand printing sounds like the old print. We've been printing out hard copies of the bulletins and burning CDs of the sermons and the services, and then delivering those to those in our community that do not have access to the online and more direct electronic forms. The third element is that you adapt all existing essential activities to comply with the requirements and recommendations. And as I've just been talking about, that is what we've been doing. So really the key word for this particular stage is adapt. You need to adapt what you're doing. Now, I'm quite confident that I believe we've actually done this stage and we've moved into what is the second stage. And the second stage is called recovery. Now, in the second stage, you discover the needs and assets and new rhythms of your neighbourhood. You experiment with different ways of being the church. You reflect on what is bearing fruit and could create impact. And you share learning with others. So at this stage, we have gone through this rapid change. We have gone to online services. And So we wanted to actually slow down the rate of change that you've had to experience, but we've continued to experiment at the moment. We've continued to actually modify what we're doing, and you would have actually seen those changes. We've modified in response to some of the feedback that we received about worship songs, and that's an ongoing discussion. And we have constraints around that, but we're doing our best there. But we've also made some significant changes to the way in which we do those online services. Probably the biggest one, which is just a massive change, is going from the straight online service where you used to have to press pause and then go off and play the other video, to now having a playlist and being able to just continuously see that through with the service. It's a massive change. The virtual foyer, another big change and a great avenue for connection for our church. So I'm loving the experimenting that's going on. But what you may also have read about in the bulletin is what we're looking to actually launch this Sunday, which is our experimental evening gathering. Now that's been happening in a I guess, with a smaller group to really experiment in how that might actually work. And we've been doing utilizing Zoom for this, for an online live gathering. We're not calling that a service because it doesn't actually have the preaching component in it. What it does have is it has the Bible reading, it has singing, so it has worship, it has prayer, and it has a devotion. So it's a short 5 to 10 minute devotion, and in that time there's also we create breakout rooms again, so we go away and discuss questions and then pray for one another and come back together. So that has been experimenting that has been going on at the moment, and I think that's an exciting place. So this particular Sunday we are going to launch that. That is going to be live and open for everyone within our church community to actually connect in with. So that starts at 6 p.m. on a Sunday night. So please look out for the email that will come from Pastor Warren, who will provide the Zoom link for people to actually join up. But again, like I said, this is an element of a time of discovery and a time of experimenting. And so what I really want to encourage you to do at the moment is experiment. Be creative. Think about the ways in which we can continue to connect and share those ideas, and even perhaps start initiatives. Have conversations with me, have conversations with Warren, have conversations with others about the ways in which we can connect as a community here at Cardiff Heights Baptist Church. I'm particularly keen to actually see what it might now look like for us to say, do ministry activities, do social activities, that men's activities, women's activities, heights of leisure. How can we be creative in this new environment, using this kind of resource that we now have to still connect? It might be that you end up actually, instead of being able to, if you love hospitality, instead of being able to actually have a family over or a couple over or someone else over for a meal at your place, you can do a Zoom catch up with them, and you might even play a game live. You might play Uno. A lot of people have that in their house. Or you might just do it where you're both having a meal, but you're having that conversation at the same time. Just experiment, see how it goes. Invite someone else to join you in doing something like that. So I really, really, really want to encourage you to experiment at the moment, to be creative. Let's see what works, let's see what doesn't work, and we'll learn and keep making things better. The third stage, and that's the final stage that they describe for the stages of response to a crisis for churches, is one of resilience. And in this stage, you design and develop new ways of being church. So you're taking that, experimenting, and kind of implementing it further. You build capacity into individuals and groups for sustainable engagement. So some ideas will be really good ideas, and we'll be able to do those, whereas others, they'll be great ideas, but there's just too much maintenance required, and they're not a sustainable idea in the long term. But we're just trying to figure those out. And lastly, they talk about institutionalizing learning and adaptive practices. So that's continuing this spirit of going, how is it that we can continue to improve what we do? And so the key word in that final stage is building. But like I said, where I think we are right now is in stage 2. And I'm encouraged by the fact that we're in stage 2. And I really, again, want to say well done in how you've managed to adapt both your life as is normal and just the way in which you connect in as a community here at Cardiff Heights. But yeah, let's continue to have that spirit of adapting, continue to have that spirit of being creative, being inventive, experimenting and going, what works? How can we build one another up, encourage one another to grow as disciples of Jesus? Anyway, please share those ideas with one another. Please share those ideas with me. And you'll hear of other initiatives as they continue to come out. So do your best to tap into those new ideas, join up. Well done in the way in which you've responded to those that we've come up with already. Anyway, good to be able to share this. I wish there could be a two-way conversation with this right now. But in any case, I'm loving still doing community with you guys. And I look forward to what God has in store for us in the future. God bless. See you soon.